Hey everybody, welcome back. Steve from the Pinball Room. It's been a little while, but here I am. I want to get you caught up on just a quick update on what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks since I last posted. You saw me in my crazy, suit going through and doing clear coat. It turned out good. I feel like, guys, it's even the longer that it's cured, like the better it's getting, like the shinier it's gotten. Now, not like every single day I'm seeing a difference, but after like a week or so, coming back and looking at it, I'm just like, wow, that's shiny. See it across the room. So I'm really excited about how that's turned out. I don't have it in my machine just yet. No. Today I want to go through and give you an update of what I have been working on. I've been working on a lot of game code. I've got some basic game mode code that I want to show you. I've got some ball save stuff. I've got some intro screen like slides. I've got some music playing. I've got the whole ability to go through and pick different modes, different song modes. We talked about that in one of the last videos a little bit. That has kind of progressed. I've got a couple of multi-balls going. We've got a ball save, a lane change award. There's been a number of things I've been able to crack out. I just kind of got down this rabbit hole and was making progress on the game modes and just was kind of in this groove. So I just kept going with it. So I want to show you what that's looking like. And yeah, it'll be quick. Just kind of go through. I'll show you here virtually how that's going to play through. I'll kind of talk a little bit about my thoughts of the game code and how I have it set up the way I have. There's been a few tips and tricks along the way for MPF that I'll share with you also. I'm not going to dive super deep into that today. Mostly it's going to be more just kind of like a show and tell. But before I do that, I want to just give a huge shout out to all my Patreon subscribers, supporters, patrons, whatever you call yourselves, whatever you guys want to call yourselves. The crew here supporting me here at Pinball Room. I've got 16 active Patreon subscribers. Several of you have been around since the very beginning. We're coming up on almost a year, guys. Thank you so much. We've got a couple of new ones that I've not been able to shout out over the last couple of months, Jay Hirschberger and Mark. So I want to give a huge shout out to them. Thank you for joining, guys, at that skill shot level. I also want to give a giant shout out to John Blatt, because man, you've been at that super jackpot level since the beginning, have not wavered. Your support and everybody's support has helped so much, guys. You helped pay for the crazy suit and the respirator that I did so I did not kill myself doing that clear coat. That was hugely appreciative. Anyways, just to all of you, Simzare, Tebow, let's just run through them. Brad and John Cross and Jim and Charles Duncan, Steph Koo and Alec, E. Umbry, Adam Hack, Chad Lehman, Ryan Hendrick, Renee Hendrickson, and Elias over at Wisteria Lodge. And again, Jay and Mark, the newest ones. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. And the handful of you also who contributed in the past weren't able to continue on for a reason. I get it. I understand. I'm sorry I've not been more active on Patreon, guys, and had like more like exclusive things for you. Again, life's busy, and I will try to be more active on there and maybe give you some quick, just like more photos behind the scenes of what's going on as I'm working on videos. So you don't necessarily have to like wait for the entire video to get edited, because I know I'm not going quite as frequent on those. But again, huge shout out to all of you guys. Thank you so much for your support, and to everybody. It's so fun. I'll be watching along on my YouTube channel because I don't have a whole lot going on in my life, and I'll see someone go through and leave a comment on like my first video. Like, wow, I just discovered this, and then another comment on the next video, and the next thing I know, like over the course of like the next couple of weeks, I can kind of follow along with you as you've been watching all the videos and catching up, and we're chatting back and forth, and it's so fun. I love being able to interact with you guys and see your excitement also as you watch me build my machine. And guys, we're getting so close. I'm feeling, let's get back to the game code. The game code has actually been going way better than I thought it would, thanks to the help from everybody at the Fast Pinball. Again, not sponsored by them or anything, but I like their shirt. And just the community, the Aaron and Brian, and Eli and David, the guys behind Fast Pinball that they've been building, the community there, and not just them, but everybody who's part of it, right? It takes everyone to kind of define that culture, and it's just been wonderful. I would not be anywhere where I am without that group, and man, it's awesome. I think, yeah, having access to that group by just buying some Fast stuff. There's my little plug for them, just because they're my buddies now, and I really love those guys. But it's so worth it being part of that community, seeing people jumping in and going through, and just how much everybody helps each other. Anyway, it's been huge for me. I'm definitely standing on the shoulders of giants, because I'm still just trying to figure this stuff out. But we're getting there. So let's jump into that. I want to show you what I've got going on my machine right now. So I'm going to take just a second and get things up and running. All right, so first things first, we get MPF monitor brought up, and you can rearrange these windows however you want over your display or displays. You get multiple displays, but I'm not that great of a video editor, so I'm just gonna do it all off one screen. The modes and the events, if you remember, those are a couple of the primary screens for me. I haven't played around a whole lot yet with the player machine variable screens tucked behind that one, but I'm actually gonna go through and hide all of those except for the play field, because I want you to be able to just kind of have like a picture-in-picture of what my LCD display is going to show, and then the play fields. Let's bring that up. Here is the LCD display. Okay, and again, it's just kind of like, boop, my start screen. Okay, so here's my LCD display. We'll bring back up MPF monitor on top, and now I've got my playfield over here with my light shows going that we created through the Showcreator. Oh, big news, big news. There is a buddy, Eric Selk, who's part of our Fast Pinball group, who's working, he's a coder, and he's been working with Mark and City on his MPF Showcreator to get it ported over to the Mac, to be able to work on the Mac. I've got like a beta version, and so far it's been working really good, so don't want to put any pressure on you, Eric, but I know he's doing it labor of love on the side, but he's getting a couple of last things buttoned up, and then he's going to go through and update Mark's GitHub repo to where you'll be able to download the Mac version and the Windows version. Actually, no, I was just on the yesterday. I think that's up in the docs right now. You can go double check. I'll put up a little thing here if I'm wrong, but you can go download a Mac version of the Showcreator and use it on your Mac now if you want. So there you go. That was awesome. Again, just the help of the community, pushing things forward, right? Okay, so here we go. We got my my starting sequence here with my animated lights running through, my light shows. Let's go through and start a game and show you what we got. The first thing here, you've seen this before. We have the ability to go through and pick a song, and I can use my flipper buttons, my right flipper, my left flipper. These are little buttons here on the screen to simulate it. Jump through, picking the different songs. There's a little bit of audio in the background. Hopefully we don't get DMCA'd for it picking up a little bit, YouTube. But it plays a little snippet. I got the song looping as you go through. I only have Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You set up and actually working, but now you go through and you hit the center drop down, lockdown bar button again to select that song and say, bink, okay, this is my song. And now, you can't see all this, but I've got kind of some placeholder screens, but you'll see over here on the playfield window, I'm going through, the whole idea here is when you enter a song mode, every song kind of has, I'm not a musician, they often kind of have like this like intro before it really kind of like gets to that next phase of the song. I'm not sure what that's called, this progression, right? So I've gone through and listened to the 10 songs I have, and some of them it's only like 10 seconds before it kind of jumps in. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You is more like a minute. And so you've got this period of time at the beginning, kind of the song intro, where if you're gonna hit this certain combo, and I've got it showing here on the screen, these are placeholder images. I'll have final like actual photographs of my pinball playfield. But this is kind of some placeholder artwork I'm working on. But if you can nail these 6 shots in order, and over here you can see on the playfield preview, those shots are flashing, and then it goes through an order, and shot number 1, shot number 2, the pop bumpers, then the drop targets, then this horseshoe loop, and then this captive ball shot is what that one is, and then up around to the spinner loop. If you can hit those 6 shots in an order, you're gonna get a bonus multiplier for the rest of the duration of that mode. So if you hit that combo, and you can hit other shots in between, but you need to hit those shots in that sequential order, right? And if you're able to get all of those before that 60-second timer runs out, then you'll have enabled this bonus multiplier for the rest of the song. Anyway, and then once you go through and do that, then you're able to go through and let's get a ball loaded up over here. Because once you start that mode, it's waiting for the ball to get launched. And then whenever you want, you can flip or cancel out of this, or just go ahead and plunge and launch the ball. And it gets you straight into the main mode now. Shows you how much time. Now I've got this for testing down to like 20 seconds, right? So I have to hurry and make this shot, but I can go through and simulate these shots inside MPF monitor. See I'm going through and hitting each of these shots, and you can see the inserts flashing appropriately, telling me which ones I need to be hitting next. Bingo, now I hit them all, and now my scores are gonna go through, and I can still hit other shots that are gonna amplify. And now, once I get through that, now I start into the rest of the mode of the song. I've got a new timer going up here, and right now I'm basically cycling through that same combo, just starting at step 2 instead of step 3. So I'll come down with like the final shot progressions you need to make. But my thought is you'll go through and then you'll have a series of combos you need to make to complete that song within the time of that song, right? And if the song runs out, as you'll see here, and you don't have a chance to make it all the way, you'll have gotten whatever you got. You'll be able to make some points along the way. And now once the song ends, it comes back to, okay, again, placeholder screen here, but basically, hey, you need to go through and hit these flashing shots again to choose a song. Now, I'm going back and forth between, do I want to have it be you just need to make just one shot, like right back into that scoop to pick a song, or now that you're in between songs, and you can keep hitting things, right? We can go through and we can be collecting our stand-ups. In fact, we can go through here and we can start a multi-ball. If we hit all of our Led Zeppelin stand-ups and drop targets to spell Led Zeppelin and see how these are lighting up and collecting. Bingo, now you see a little flasher down here, this little blue, because I've got my ball saved from a multi-ball going. I need to launch some balls so it doesn't freak out and think my ball trough is jammed. Okay, so now I've got 3 balls going on in there. And then you go through and you're doing a multi-ball for a while, right? And keep making these shots, get some points. And then if we drain a couple of balls, that multi-ball is going to end. We'll go back to single ball play. But my whole thought is like, while you're going around in between songs, you can still make progression on your hurry-ups towards the hermit multi-ball, towards the stairway multi-ball. Now the way I'm planning on coding this is all the multi-balls will be stackable. Well, each individual multi-ball will be stackable with the song mode. I don't want to have the multi-ball stack, I don't think. Maybe just for my own sanity right now to code it. That might be a lot for going on in my head, but I think I want to have, you can get, there's going to be like 3 primary multi-balls, the Led Zeppelin multi-ball when you spell out Led Zeppelin, and there's going to be an indicator on the screen showing that as well, plus you'll see the inserts here on the field. There's a Hermit multi-ball. Once you nail that Hermit multi-ball shot like 6 times, there's a number of times you'll be able to start that small 2-ball multi-ball. And then there'll be the staircase or the stairway multi-ball is the main one. Those are going to be the 3 primary multi-balls. There might be some wizard modes. And then you've got the 10 song modes, right? Now, one thing you didn't see, I don't have it hooked up yet when you're in a song mode, that the corresponding like album cover or song cover down here and these inserts is lighting up. I'll get to that. I'm hoping to do that today, actually. That's what's called an achievement. But anyway, when you're in this mode, right now I've got it set up. You need to hit the ramp up here to go up to the backstage, collect all 4 of the drop targets up top, and that then lights this shot over here into the VUC. And when you do that, now you're back into the mode where you can go through and you can pick your next song. Again, I only have the 1 song working, so we're going to start this song, and it's going to go through and get triggered once I release it from out of the buck there. Okay, and I've got it to where the ball is being held in that scoop until you pick a song, and then it kicks it out. That part seems to be firing great, and then you're back into your next mode, and you can do it all over again. One of the things I need to figure out still is like how to go through and like restart when I want to clear out and restart this multi-ball. So we'll come back around to that. Right now I've got it set, you basically can just do it once and that's it, but I want to make it where you can get back in and do those multi-balls multiple times, just make it progressively harder each time, right, to get into it. But okay, yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. May not seem like a lot, but it's pretty exciting. We've got we've got ball savers. I go here and drain the ball. There we go, ball in. Looked like my game crashed maybe. Alrighty, so it crashed. We're still working on bugs, but here's the new one starting. You can see I've got like the ball save going down here. Go through, start the song again, and get it out there. And again, we've got the ball save going for a limited time. If I hurry and redo it within that time frame, it doesn't end. It's going to allow me to kick a ball back out, get back onto the play field, and keep going. So yeah, so I know I'm sitting here, I'm going through and kind of showing it to you guys kind of quick, and it almost seems maybe a little anticlimactic and simple, but for me, guys, this was huge. Being able to get to this point and say that this is working. Now, is it perfectly working? No. I mean, hey, I just had a crash, so I got some little conflict somewhere, I guess, in something. We didn't want to start that mode there at the end. But, well, that's happened before. I fixed the last handful. We'll come back through. We'll figure it out. We'll get it working. Like, it's just a matter of time. It just takes some time, but for me, guys, this is just like so freaking exciting that it's like, but we're getting stuff working. Oh, the other thing I was going to show you, you can go down here and you can do the rollover lanes here. These are going to spell rock, R-O-C-K, and you can cycle through them, right, until you get all of them collected, and then you're going to earn probably a ball save. I think I'm about doing the ball save kind of similar to TNA. So once you kind of do all that, light one up, then you have one of the inlanes, outlanes. Like if it runs through that, it's going to be saved, and you can alternate back and forth with your flipper buttons to control it and try to save the ball as it goes out. I really liked what Scott Denisi did there in TNA, so I'm going to copy that, most likely steal that for in here. I don't know if it was done in some other pinball machine, maybe it was also, but I know it from his TNA. Great game, by the way. But yeah, so we've got like, in different modes, different colors of the shots being triggered, so that's kind of fun. We're going through and tracking all that. Yeah, I got the multi-ball. It's just, I don't know. Might not seem like a whole ton, but for me, this is huge. The fact that it's been coming along, and I mean, I've been asking questions and getting help, but it's not like I've been completely just like floundering and having to wait for someone else to do it for me. So I've been really excited. Honestly, a little bit proud of myself of how well it's coming along. Okay, some of the things that I've learned along the way, it might be kind of some tips and tricks for you guys who are trying to come through and do your own games. Michael Eccleston, I'm talking to you. So I'm kind of torn, guys, because like I could go through, I'm making so much progress. So like almost every day, every 2 days, I'm like finishing a little mode, tweaking this, Yesterday I had to rewrite how I'm handling my multi-balls because I realized the way I was doing it, I needed like helper modes to keep track of my progress versus when the multi-ball, so it's not going on at the same time. Because like when you're in a multi-ball, do you want to still be making progress towards a different multi-ball? No. While you're in that multi-ball, I want you to just be focused on the song mode and that multi-ball. Progression for the other things is frozen while you're in that multi-ball mode. So that meant I had to go through and figure out how to kind of separate out the multi-ball from the progression tracking for that multi-ball. And when you're in a multi-ball, progression tracking then gets shut down until you're out of that multi-ball, and then that gets re-enabled. There's this great example in the MPF docs. In fact, let me just bring that up really fast for you guys. So let's bring it up into the MPF docs and let's talk about layering. So we're gonna jump right into some code for you guys here, right? But inside the Mission Pinball Framework docs, which by the way, just got revamped into a whole new structure. Thank you, Brian Madden, for helping maintain all that. Not getting paid a dime, and for everyone else who's been contributing and adding to these docs. But the search is like lightning fast. This thing's moving really good now. So anyways, you just search layer and layering modes up here. You'll see inside the game programming section and modes, layering modes examples, there's a great write-up by Anthony Van Winkle that goes through and talks about not the only way you can go about structuring your code for your game, but probably a good common way and a good way of describing kind of how these relationships work. And he talks about, you're going to have, we talked about this before, there's lots of different modes you're going to have in your game. You're going to have there's a game mode that's controlled by Mission Pinball Framework you cannot touch that just runs the entire game. Then on top of that, you have a base mode that you, as the programmer, can control, and that handles the starting a ball, achievements, ball saves, combo multipliers, lots of things that are persistent all the way through the entire game, no matter what mode, wizard mode, or anything you're in. These are the consistent things you always want to have be running and be aware of things. So if you think of it that way, okay, what things need to always be going on and being tracked regardless of what mode I'm in, what ball you're on, what person it is, anything, all those things want to be tracked, put that inside your base mode. And then on top of that, you go through and have what Anthony is suggesting be called a global mode, okay? And inside the global mode, that's where you can keep track of other things like, the locking and lighting and advancements of your multi-ball, that progression, maybe progression towards wizard modes, pop bumper rewards, and then he talks about this concept of start and stop handlers for what he calls the field mode and the mission modes. And these are two sets of modes, the field mode and the mission modes. Think of mission modes as like your game modes, right? For me, it's like my song modes. Those are the mission modes as he describes, right? It's this individual mode. It's a set of configuration files just for that mode. And while that mode's running, you may or may not want these other kind of more general field things happening, right? So like the progress towards lighting your next mode. When you're in a mode, you probably want to put that on hold. So they're kind of like, what's the word? Not opposites. I'm forgetting the word. Anyway, but they have this relationship, right? They're like mutually exclusive. I don't think that's really the word I'm thinking, or the phrase I'm thinking of. But anyway, I think you know what I'm saying, right? While your mission, or like for me, while you're playing through a song, it doesn't really make sense for you to be making progress towards lighting the next song. I mean, it could, but I think for most games, those are kind of separate actions, right? While you're out of a mode, you're going through to make the shots to qualify and light a mode and then start that mode, right? And when you're in that mode, you don't want the player to be lighting and unlocking another mode. So up to you. But those can kind of exist separately, right? And so these start-stop handlers inside the global mode is what allows you to control, hey, when we just start the global mode, let's start the field mode, let's start tracking progression. And part of that progression is once we have a mission ready to go, when that mission gets started, there's an event that MPF will fire. So when that mission starts, the global mode is going to be listening for the start mission mode event. And when the start mission mode event comes through, it knows, oh, a mission just started. I'm now going to stop or pause the field mode so we're not making progression on the rest of those things. And then the global mode's also going to listen for when that mission mode ends, or like ball drain or whatever else, right? Whenever it ends, oh, that one ended. Okay, now I'm going to restart the field mode and go back to letting them light and select another mode. So this is this relationship between them where you can kind of be turning one on and off. Well, for me, if I'm in multi-balls, I'm doing a similar thing. In his example here, it's kind of like when you get inside like a multi-ball or wizard mode, that kind of takes over everything. Your mission modes get suspended. There's no more progression for other things, right? Well, for me, I want to be able to stack my multi-ball modes on top of my game modes, very similar to like Simpsons Pinball Party. You can go up to the garage, up to the living room behind the TV, and you can start a mode. In fact, you can start multiple modes, and then you can have a multi-ball running on top of that. I'm not going to have multiple songs going at the same time because every song's going to be playing, and that would be, cacophony for the ears. But I do want a single mode to be playing and still be able to have you get into the stairway multi-ball while you're in that mode. And so you can be stacking those and get even more points, right? Anyway, so my global mode kind of goes across and also controls, all right, this multi-ball mode is started. I want the progression and the tracking of that multi-ball mode to stop while we're in that multi-ball mode. So you can't make progression towards the next one until it comes out. And anyway, I just spent like all yesterday like rewriting my multi-ball stuff to work that way, and it seems to be working well. Of course, we just saw a crash, so I probably still have some debugging. But anyway, so very long-winded, but all that to say, reading this page here about this relationship between the modes and the examples he gives, and he even has code snippets down here about here's the basic way to go through and be listening and starting and stopping the different modes through the different start events and stop events, and then the event player, and it's fairly straightforward. He does a good job explaining it. You can just kind of copy and paste that right into your own config files, bingo, and it works. It's really simple. There's so much good stuff in here, guys, so much good stuff. And another thing I really loved is if you go here inside, where was it? The Cookbook. So you go to game programming and you go over here to Cookbook. There are tons what they're calling recipes here of people who basically taken popular portions of other popular games, like the Addams Family, how they handles the Mansion Awards. Someone, I don't even know who it was, I don't see credits in here, but thank you whoever it was. There's all these different things in here from different games. People have gone through and they've built them, they've recreated them inside the Mission Pinball Framework code, and they walk you through it in a tutorial saying, okay, you want to simulate something just like the Addams Family Mansion Awards, right? Have like 12 different awards, have it randomly always start with 1 or 2 selected for them to start. Here's how you do it in MPF, and it goes through and shows you the code. And I've read through these, and it's very, very complete. And it does a great job explaining it all to you. And so you can jump right in and say, oh, I want to do basically that exact same thing. Let me copy it, maybe make a few tweaks of my own, right? And bingo, there you go. So there's so much here for you to start from and build upon. There's lots of things in here, right? Mystery awards. Anyway, there's so many things. Yeah, I cannot stress enough how helpful these docs are and just the community around them as well. So if you're struggling, just jump in. Again, I really impress upon you, get familiar with MPF Monitor, get familiar with going through and paying attention to the game modes and the events. You know, have those pulled up while you're playing your game virtually on your machine. Just go through and get familiar with watching these things, because for me, this has been the most helpful. Okay, has my mode started like I thought it was gonna start? Okay, and then what are the events firing down here? Did it ever even say, you know, multi-ball started? It never got to that point. Okay, what am I missing? I worked through that one yesterday when I was rebuilding all my multi-ball code. I'm like, I think I have it. Why isn't it starting? I look back through my events. Oh, it's never firing. Okay, so I'm not getting to that step. What's the step before that? What's supposed to make it fire? Oh, you know, this shot group is supposed to be getting completed. And I looked at, oh, typo. Okay, fix a typo, bam, things are working. Like it's totally doable. I guess all I'm saying, guys, is like, for me, this is one of the things that intimidated me the most, was going through and trying to do my own code, that and the artwork. I'm like, I'm gonna have to get somebody to help me with the code. I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to do it. And I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, okay? But I've been able to stumble my way through it. There's a lot of people out there to help you. Give it a shot, give it a shot. I think you'll be surprised at how much help there is and how many examples that you'll be able to go through. It takes a minute to get your head around how it works, but once you kind of understand a little bit the logic and how things flow and interact together, you can really get a lot of things going. Anyway, this is just so fun to play with, but it's my goal here, guys. I'm gonna wrap up. I've been going on long enough. I said it's gonna be a short video. Just stick with it. Do not give up. There are people out there who will help you. I will help you as much as I can. I'm not the smartest coder, but I know some people who are. Like, I'll help you get in touch with them. Like, come join the community with Fast. If you bought any of their products, you've got access to it. Jump in, it's gonna be helpful to you. There's other communities outside besides the Fast Slack group also. And so there's lots of people out there who will help you with MPF. Just don't give up. Go in there, you can do this, okay? It takes it's baby steps, right? We're just doing building blocks. One thing builds upon the last one. Next thing you know, you've got a game mode. Next thing you know, you've got a ball save. Next thing you know, you've got insert lighting up. Put it all together, and you've got the semblance of a game here. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. Hang in there, guys. Go after it, all right? Okay, so next up is gonna be, so just so you're aware and kind of what to expect from my next videos, I really wanna go through and get this working really solidly on, I can go into a game mode, I can play through all the scenarios of, you know, playing through till the timer ends, playing through and having the balls drain, every time right, having my multi-balls stack on top of that mode correctly and be able to reset correctly. That rock rollover lane, I want that kind of ball save, lane change game mechanic. I want to get that part puzzled out and working. And I think that's it. If I can just kind of get the basic mode working solidly and get those other couple things, the Led Zeppelin multi-ball running and the rock rollover lane ball save working, if I can get those things working well, then that's like enough for me to kind of really kind of play test. I'm going to then go through and hook my play field back up to my machine. That's going to involve tearing down the old white wood, building up onto the new one that's clear coated, right? We'll do that over a weekend, and then rewiring everything into what I'm going to have now be my final wiring. That's going to be a whole chunk of work, and so I'll go through and probably have a quick video of kind of swapping out the play fields, what kind of time lapse that, and then I'll slow down and I'll talk a little bit more about how I'm going through my wiring. I've been looking a lot at other people in the community, how they're doing their wiring. Got a lot of good ideas on some great ways to go through and do the wiring, keep it nice and clean. So I'm going to try to go through and do that as cleanly as possible with the correct suggested wiring colors that everybody has and everything. So I'm kind of following the norms. So we'll go through, we'll do a video on the kind of that playfield swap and the wiring. We're also going to, through that, we'll talk about how we're going to have separate channels for the lighting wiring versus the high voltage wiring, so we don't get electronic interference, and how you need to make sure you're crossing this at a 90-degree versus running in parallel. And if you are, there's space. We'll talk through all that type of stuff, get the wiring set up and running. And then at the end of that, we'll turn this on, we'll have this on the screen, and we should be able to go through exactly what you saw me do on my laptop. We should be able to do in my pinball cabinet and play through that mode. See how hard it is to do. I might have to cheat, have the glass off still, and be hitting some switches to make sure things really work the way I want. But that's kind of the next stage, because like for me, like I'm watching the events, I'm pretty sure things are working mechanically the way that I want them to. But that'll be the final test of, okay, when I say the ball's being held in the scoop, and I think it's firing the right events, is it actually really being held, or does it try to kick it out early anyway? Is my ball trough really working the way I think it is? I feel pretty good about it, but like, it'd be good to actually go through and double and play test it all in the actual cabinet. And then guys, if we can do that, for me, that's kind of the core of my game. Then it's just kind of rinse and repeat. I've got one multi-ball, I've got to set up 2 more. I've got one song, I got to set up 9 more. And that's going to be like 80% of my game. I've got hurry-ups I have to do after that. I've got super ramps and super orbits and super spinners I want to work in. But that's like, oh, my multiplier. That's going to be the other biggest thing, is the ball lock up those inline drop targets. But that I definitely need to have my optos firing in the physical cabinet to make sure things are really working the way I really want. Okay, anyway, there you go. There's kind of the roadmap, the plan for the next, I don't know, couple of months of videos until we get this thing ready to go to Pinball Expo in Chicago. But I'm feeling way more confident that Expo is going to be possible, the progress we've been making. Okay, I'm going to shut up because I'm done yapping. You guys didn't listen to me, but thanks so much for coming along for the ride. Hopefully this gives you a better idea of where I'm at and where we're going. Love your feedback if you have any on what I'm doing and how to go through and make it better. I'm kind of aiming for a little bit of a simpler game set right now, rule set. 1, just to make sure I can actually program it. And 2, I don't know, a couple of things I want to make sure I nail right. Just being able to get in and out of songs. That whole idea of like you have to kind of hurry and do these combos during that intro of the song to get this multiplier. I like that idea. I need to work on how I communicate that through my slides so it actually makes sense to new players, right? That, and then being able to trap that ball up behind those inline drops, kind of like a Scott Denisi lock, right? And then release it and have that come out and be tracking a bonus multiplier through your whole entire game, and how you can like lock that multiplier in. I've got some ideas on that. Anyway, if I can get those couple of things working out really well, I feel like those are some pretty good, simple, fun mechanics that kind of have been proven to work on so many machines, even back through the solid state and electromechanical era. Anyways, yeah. Okay. All right. Like I said, enough of me blabbing, guys. Thanks so much. We'll catch you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.